everyone, and welcome to week number 11 of Pickswise Playbook. I am your host, Chris Rose, joined as always by our resident gambling expert, the one and only Jared Smith, and our former NFL offensive lineman, the hilarious Ross Tucker. Gentlemen, it is good to see you. And you know what? I got to start off with this before we get to all the games. I'm a little miffed. I thought we were all teammates here. I think some of us are getting a little sloppy. I know it's week 11. I am the only one wearing my Pickswise gear. What's the matter here, Jared?
I got a note from the powers that be that when we all wear the same thing, it looks a little, I want to differentiate the style. We all have different styles, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a quarter zip guy. Ross, a little more casual. Chris, you're clearly the classiest of the bunch here with the polo.
No, you know what? I am immediately regretting right now. I usually like to wear something collared or like quarter zip. I look like the scrub of the bunch. But I have noticed that because of my setup in my home office, no matter how many times I wear Pickswise clothes, nobody knows. Nobody can see it. So it's totally pointless.
You got the hat back there, which is nice.
I have the hats. Yeah. I have double hats on top of the game balls. Better than what you guys have. Better than your shirts. You can't even see the Pickswise on Chris's shirt. You can see my Pickswise hats, double-barreled.
I want to admit to both of you, I have not washed this since week 2.
I was going to say right 11 now, weeks.
it might actually walk off of my chest at some point midway through this show. It is so ripe right now.
Good thing there's no smell-o-vision through the cameras, right? You guys are not plenty far away from us over here.
All right, everybody, we are here to make your Thursdays, your Sundays, your Mondays more enticing when it comes to the gambling space. We want to have a ton of fun. Quick reminder as well, go out and download your Pickswise app, okay? Have it on your mobile device. So wherever you are, you can check in on not only the NFL, but college football as we're getting closer to bowl season. College basketball is tipped off. You got the NBA. You've got the NHL. It is all there at your disposal. You want it there. It's very simple. And you can do that on Apple and Google Play Store. Very cool. So make sure you do that. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well when you see us on YouTube or wherever you're downloading your stuff. And, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place. It's very simple. Do that. I mean, I'm not demanding it. I'm encouraging it because these guys are smart. Kind of. You ready to dive into it, boys?
Let's roll.
Always.
Here we go with week 11 in the NFL. And we get it going with, I would say, the biggest game of the weekend. You've got the Cowboys at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are right around a field goal favorite. That means everybody watched the Sunday night shellacking they gave on the Raiders where they dropped 41 and Patrick Mahomes threw for more than 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. And all of a sudden, Ross Tucker, everybody goes, the Chiefs are back. The Chiefs are back. Are they really back?
Well, maybe, but what bothers me more than that, Chris, is everybody being like, ha, 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 those of you that thought the Chiefs weren't good, ha, 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 I knew all along. Oh, really, dude? Did you watch the 4 games before that? They were not good. Like, those games happened. They counted in everything. I watched them against the Giants, against the Packers. I watched those games. Here's my thought on this game, and it looks like Jared and I are going head-to-head. Okay, not to steal Jared's thunder, but the Cowboys have played really well all season, except for one game. The one game against Denver. That's the anomaly. That's the aberration. Other than that, Cowboys have been good. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, they haven't been good for a while, with the exception of Sunday night against the Raiders. So I am going with the season-long trend as opposed to what just happened in the most recent game. Because, by the way, if we're just going to go by the most recent game, the Cowboys eviscerated the Atlanta Falcons. It was 43-3 at the end of the third quarter, okay? So I like the Cowboys with the points. Love them as a teaser leg if they're sitting around 2.5. Tease them up through 3 and 7, the key numbers. I like the Cowboys.
The teaser leg is intriguing because it's through those key numbers, but it's a super high total game. I'm already seeing 55.5, 56. So the points to tease it not as impactful, but I agree with Ross's take about the longevity of Dallas's season. This is a fascinating game, not only because it's an interconference game, it's a potential Super Bowl type of matchup game. I don't think it's going to be the Super Bowl matchup, but of course it could be. And it's going to be the most high volume game of the week. That's what I'm hearing from all the bookmakers. So a little bit of movement towards Kansas City. Action is relatively split right now. I thought Dallas might have been a public dog here because of that huge game last week and because the public would say, oh, we're catching points with the Cowboys. Let's take those points. But the Chiefs also have that public narrative, Mahomes tax attached to it. So I certainly think this is a toss-up game. And in a toss-up game, you would like to take the points. But I don't know, something about Dallas just hints at me a little regression. They were so good yards per play to start the season, 6.3 yards per play overall this year. But in their last 3 games, it's under 6. It's down to 5.8. And so I think Dallas, as good, I don't think they were as good as they are on Sunday. I don't think they were as bad as they played 2 weeks ago against the Broncos. I think there's somewhere in between. And I think the Chiefs, I think the swag and the momentum is a little back. And I think if there is a home field advantage still in the NFL, Arrowhead is it. And if I had to pick basically who's going to win this game, if it's a 2.5-point spread, I would lean to Kansas City. This is not my strongest play of the week. I'd say it's a half-unit play. But I would trust what I saw with Mahomes, that he'll carry that over against the poor Cowboys defense, which has given up a lot of yards this year. Chiefs defense playing slightly better. So not my favorite play of the week, but I would lean Kansas City here.
I'm not here to pick sides between you two because I consider both of you my brothers, although I do like one of you more than the other. I'm just not going to say which one. I do want people to know, though, Kansas City 1-5 against the spread against teams over 500 this year. The Dallas Cowboys do have a winning record. And the Dallas Cowboys 3-0 against the spread as dogs this year. So, Ross?
It's a good number.
I'm just saying, maybe things are looking up for you in the head-to-head battle.
Chiefs by 3. We both win. There you go, right? Chiefs by field goal.
Yeah, well, if with me taking the teaser leg, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's move on. And we say, I'm back. Now, of course,
No, Chris. That's not how he said it. I'm back. Like
yeah, he did have a little high pitch there.
So weird.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm so used to Cam, like press conference. Cam has the weirdest yelling voice. The most dissimilar yelling voice from his regular talking voice of anybody I've ever heard.
It wasn't good
on Sunday.
It wasn't good. I thought that was the thing that Ross yelled when he gets back to the Vegas buffet. Because, usually he clears a path. He's like a fullback at that point. All right, so Cam, he's going to be back in the starting lineup, it sounds like. He only played 8 plays, but had a couple of good ones, a TD run, a TD toss out in Arizona. So now, how do we see this thing, Jared?
Well, this is a fascinating matchup too because it's a Ron Rivera revenge game. It's just like there's just so many nuances and so many made for TV moments that could happen here. I'm curious what the Rivera Cam Newton exchange will be pregame, postgame. I know that there is certainly some interesting tidings there at the end of the tenure, but I think if you had to ask me who wins this game, I good luck picking a side. I think it's a toss-up game. And I think Washington showed me a lot of heart last week. Coming off the bye, they were the cleaner team, the crisper team against Tampa Bay. Maybe that was a letdown spot for the Bucs, but hey, the Bucs have now lost 2 games in a row. So I think Washington showed me a little bit of that grit that they showed last year. The issue with Washington is they're not healthy. Chase Young's now out. I don't know what the situation is with Scherf, the guard, after he was nicked up. I know they had some issues on the offensive line, but this is still a toss-up game, and I do not trust Cam Newton as a favorite. I have not seen this guy play, an extended amount of time since last year, and I just wouldn't want to lay points with Cam. So this is a toss-up game. Again, this is not one of my stronger plays. I'd consider it a half-unit lean, but if you're going to give me 3 and the hook with Washington, I know Carolina's defense is playing really well. Certainly, I certainly want to acknowledge that. But I think Washington showed me a little fight, a little heart last week that I didn't think they had. I thought they were kind of a dead stick, heading into that bye. But they showed me a little something, and I'll take the 3 and the hook with the home dog here.
Totally agree. I'm with you on this all the way. First of all, love the way Washington played last week. But perhaps more importantly, football, this is not like baseball or the NBA, okay? Like baseball, you can trade for a guy and you can put him at third base that night, right? He's a third baseman. You're playing tonight. Even the NBA, the guy is the scorer. You can get him in the rotation right away. NFL, is really a detail business. It's a lot more complicated than people realize. And it's impossible for Cam Newton to master those details in Joe Brady's offense in a week. It's just impossible. So I think Ron Rivera will give him a bunch of different stuff. I don't know that he'll have all the answers in Joe Brady's offense yet. I like Washington and the points as well.
Yeah.
You guys forgot to mention this is a Taylor Heineke revenge game too.
Oh, that's right. He played for Carolina. That's right.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think this is like drama-wise. Like this is like you can put a whole reality TV series around this game.
It's a very watchable game in part because let's remember the Panthers are currently the 7 seed. And I don't know if you've given a peek or not. Their last month schedule is brutal. They have Tampa twice. I know they play the Saints and they play one other really good team. And so they're trying to get some wins built up to maybe at least go 500 over that last month.
Washington's live too for the playoffs. They've got 3 wins. I mean, I think everyone in the NFC is live right now. That last spot is up for grabs.
We'll see. All right, let's get to the Texans and the Titans. The Titans, best record in the AFC. They've won their last 2 games without Derrick Henry. They have been so impressive. They've won 6 in a row overall. That included 5 in a row against teams that made the playoffs a year ago. They don't have to deal with that this week. They are a double-digit favorite taking on the Texans. I don't know. Ross, set this one up for us.
I like the Texans. For a bunch of different reasons. Number one, they're getting a lot of points. You get double-digit points. I got them on Tuesday when they were getting 11. I think Jared got them getting 10.5. I see some places as we record this 10.5. They're getting a lot of points. Tyrod Taylor had 1 start after the injury. Then they had the bye week. I think he will be better. And here's the thing about the Titans. They're not really moving the ball on offense.
Nope.
They had less than 200 yards against the Rams, less than 300 yards against the Saints. They've been getting by on defense and Vrabel being a stud coach. I think the Texans keep it close. I actually think the Texans are a live dog here, believe it or not. I think the Titans, they've been on an unbelievable stretch, but this is the NFL. Those unbelievable runs and stretches, they end, and it might end Sunday for the Titans. This is the same team that lost to the Jets, the New York Jets.
So the Titans' last 5 games, Buffalo, Kansas City, Indy, Rams, Saints. And now they play the Texans. I mean, talk about the letdown emotionally because you get up for all these games. And we talked about it last week. Mike Vrabel, now he's 14-18 against the spread as a favorite. He doesn't really coach the team up when they are facing a team that's below them. He likes the opposite role. He likes the chip on the shoulder. Everybody doubts us. We're not supposed to win. That's kind of his persona. And that's not the persona that the Titans are going to carry with them into this game. Everyone expects them to win this game by 2 scores. And I don't really have a lot of analytical reasons to like the Texans. The numbers are really bad. This is just one of those games where everyone's going to back Tennessee. The line hasn't moved towards the Titans. It's even kind of sharpened towards the Texans. This is one of those gut feeling red flag kind of games where everyone's going to zig and we should zag. Absolutely take the points with the Texans. I don't know if they're going to win the game. I don't care if they're going to win the game, but I definitely think they keep this close. Also, the Titans have a really tough game next week against New England. This is the ultimate sandwich spot for this Tennessee team, and I just think it's a good spot for the Texans off the bye to show you that they're a little bit better than the record indicates.
But if you are Texans head coach David Culley, you cannot use the speech, hey, nobody believes in you this week. We're a double-digit dog, because this is the 6th time already this season they have been a dog by at least 10 points. By the way, they're 2-3 in those previous
Maybe he just records
games.
that speech and just plays it in the locker room before every game, right? It's the same speech. It just goes
over the speaker while the guys are just changing, getting ready for practice and leaving practice. You are once again a double-digit dog. Please proceed with caution. Can't imagine. Ross, did that happen to you when you suited up for my Cleveland Browns? Because I'm sure it felt that way.
No, because I was really just there for the preseason games.
Oh, sorry.
I don't remember what the spread was, but yes. I mean, nobody has believed in the Texans in any game this whole year.
No.
Okay.
Except for that first game against the Jags. We did have them in that game. That was their only win, too.
That was it. It seems like 6 years ago, by the way. All right, here we go. The Lions. They almost did it last week, Ross. They almost did it.
They did do it. I had the Lions getting 9 points. They did it, baby. They did it.
That's
for
a
me.
win.
Yeah. So they're getting right around that number on the road in Cleveland. There's a lot going on physically, particularly with the quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield didn't practice Wednesday. You can add the knee contusion to the broken shoulder and, to the torn labrum and everything else with him. And now Jared Goff has got an oblique issue, and Tim Boyle is coming off the injured list, and he might end up being the first-team quarterback. The guy is thrown for 15 yards as an NFL quarterback. Jared, you've got I look like a Muppet face on right now. What's going on there?
Not good for the Lions. So I was fortunate that there was a rogue 9.5 in the market that I found on Tuesday at one of the smaller shops in Jersey. You're not going to find anything close to that now. I would guess that this probably closes 14-ish if it is Boyle.
Wow.
Because the drop off. I mean, think about the drop offs we've seen with quarterbacks, and I know Jared Goff's nothing to write home about, but we've seen 7-8 point moves with a lot of these quarterbacks. I think a 3 or 4 point move to Boyle makes sense to me. I'm already seeing 12s right now as we tape this show. So I think if it is Boyle, this is a 2 touchdown spread, 13.5 maybe. So I think getting anywhere in under 14 is fair game. And when you look at the Browns, I mean, talk about volatility. They beat the Bengals by 1 million. Then they lose to the Patriots by 1 million. I mean, what side of the coin are they going to fall on this week? Well, they're going to be able to run the ball this week. They could not run the ball last week against the Patriots.
Yes, they could. They stopped running the ball.
They didn't try to run it as much as they probably needed to. They had a lead in that game, too, which was even more crazy that it was such a lopsided result. I'm curious if there's any, and you guys might be able to speak to this more, especially you, Ross. I mean, Myles Garrett kind of tweaked the defensive coaching staff a little bit, not making any adjustments during the game. I'm curious if that lights a fire under this Browns team. They're still a really talented team with a ton of great players. The Lions are not that. And I would expect Cleveland to bounce back this week in a big way. I think they can control the tempo in this game. They're going to control the trenches in this game. And if it is Boyle, I mean, good luck the Lions moving the ball. And I think this is a resounding bounce back win for the Browns this week. This is one of my favorite plays of the week, I think.
I'm glad we're getting a little bit closer, Chris, to solving the mystery about jaredsfakelines.com. Now it's a smaller shop in New Jersey. You probably never heard of it. Yeah. Just like Jared has a girlfriend that lives in Canada. We just haven't ever met her, right?
Sure. By the way, that shop doubles as an auto mechanic shop.
Yeah. It does. They're gonna fix my spare. They're gonna fix my
smaller shop in Jersey. You never heard of it? No, I got to play a 9.5. Incredible.
I'll show you the ticket after the show. Don't worry.
Yeah. Here's all I know. Okay. All I know is I don't really believe Jared Goff's injury is all that bad. I think just like Zach Wilson with the Jets and Jared Goff with the Lions, I think when a team wants to play somebody else a quarterback, they say the guy's not 100%. Do you think the O linemen for the Detroit Lions are 100% right now? Do you think anybody on the field it's week 11 of the NFL season? 100%. You know when you're 100%? July 25th, before you report for training camp. That's when you're 100%. What a joke. I have no idea what to expect from Boyle. I'm hoping they try to keep him on injured reserve and still have him start the game so we at least set an NFL record with a guy on IR starting at quarterback for a football team. I got nothing on this game. I would lean Cleveland because I think Detroit left it all on the field in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah. I know that real quickly as we move on to our next game, which is the Saints at the Eagles, that my man Ross Tucker is super excited because he's not going to count it yet, but he is sniffing his futures.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Boy, that was a
great
nice,
pick.
Huge, meaty win out in Denver last week, dude.
No, you can't count. That was a big win, but you can't count your chickens till they hatch. But yes, that was a needed win to get to the 7.
Okay. With that being said, can they win as a home dog? They haven't won at all. They haven't won at all, and now they're a dog against the Saints.
Well, I think most places they're favored now. It's they're favored by like a point.
It's kind of been flopping around a little bit.
Yeah, it's been moving around a little bit, but the Eagles
it opened as a pick 'em.
Yeah, as we're recording this, the Eagles are a slight favorite, which is why Jared and I both like the Saints teased up. I got the Saints teased up to 7.5 on Tuesday. I think Trevor Siemian's actually played pretty darn well. I think he doesn't have a lot of weapons around him. Kamara's been hurt. We'll see what happens with him on Sunday. They have no running game. Siemian's been fine. He's a fine quarterback. That's what he is. Eagles have played really well the last 3 games. I don't know why they are not as good at home. They have not stopped the quarterback at home yet. They have not played well. I mean, it's week 11. They have 4 road wins already. The problem is they have 0 home wins. I think it's a field goal game either way. Same way I felt about Denver and about the Chargers. So if I can tease the Saints up to 7.5, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, low total game 2, mid-low 40s, 44, 45. So getting the Saints through. And again, of all the teaser legs of the moves, the most impactful to me is moving a pick'em game through 7. Because that is unlike maybe moving like a favorite down, or to me, getting a pick'em through 7 is a really strong teaser leg anytime it's a low total game, and that certainly fits the bill this week. This is a huge game for the Saints. How about this? They've lost 2 straight games by 2 points. And I study this stuff. The number of 2 is not a number that gets landed on very much in the NFL. So to lose 2 consecutive games by 2 points, a little snake bitten, I would say, are the Saints. They should get back Kamara and Armstead this week, their left tackle. Again, I don't confirm that, but I think those guys would be trending in the right direction. I know Kamara was close last week, but didn't quite fit the bill. And again, the DVOA numbers, the Saints are better on defense. Net yards per play, it's relatively even. The Eagles are slightly ahead. So this is a true toss-up game, and you're getting it through that key number of 3 and 7. I think this is probably my favorite teaser leg of the week for New Orleans.
And by the way, if you do take the Saints, whether just with the points or on a teaser leg, be patient. Their offense has sucked in the first half the last couple of weeks. And Trevor Siemian
heats up in the fourth quarter.
He does. So he's a late arrival. He's a little bit like people out in L.A. They arrive late for things. So I don't know if he has any ties to the Southern California area, but maybe that's the explanation. Who knows? All right. This is going to be a fun one. Dolphins and Jets. Ross had embargoed them for much of the year until they somehow took care of the Bengals. That was interesting. And now the Jets they're about to start. Really, it should be their 4th different quarterback. Josh Johnson didn't start that Thursday night game in Indianapolis, but he played the bulk of it because of the Mike White injury. White gets picked off 4 times against the Bills last week. They get blown out. Robert Saleh's like, we still believe in him. And then on Wednesday, he announced Joe Flacco's going to start. Jared, this is your team that you grew up rooting for. Please explain.
This is madness. This is utter madness. In what parallel Marvel Cinematic Universe is Joe Flacco going to help this Jets team get better, improve the culture, the future, new head coach, new
quarterback?
It makes no sense.
Joe Flacco. I can't take him seriously with number 19 either. This is the same guy that took 4 days to drive up the New Jersey Turnpike from South Jersey to North Jersey. 4 days.
I have so much respect for Flacco and what he did in Baltimore. I mean, it was such a great run, but the Jets are a young team with a young head coach and a young core. They are going, I think, in my eyes, let's say I was like a defensive player or a wide receiver on this Jets team and I was young, I'm in the locker room and I'm trying to earn that trust with my head coach, and he talks up this Mike White guy, and then all of a sudden, boom, they pull the rug out from under him. He's played 2 games in the NFL, 1 good, 1 bad. The bad one was against arguably the best defense in the league, coming off of a loss. Give him another start against the Dolphins, who are, again, a good team. They're an average team, mediocre, I would say, but they're not at the level of the Bills. Maybe Mike White continues to improve, and you want to know what you have with him. You know what Joe Flacco is. And the Wilson thing's weird because, Ross, I agree. If he's not 100% this week, it's the whole situation stinks to high heaven. I like the Jets before getting 3 in the hook. I downgraded it from a unit to a half unit after the Flacco news because I don't know what to expect with Joe Flacco this week. I would take the 3 in the hook because I wouldn't trust Tua to lay it on the road. But this whole situation, I want to wash my hands of it completely because I don't understand I don't understand what the strategy is to start Flacco this week. Who cares that he's good against the blitz? Guy hasn't started a game in 2 years? Makes no sense to me.
You know, I don't know what to say about this game. I mean, I really just want to talk about the Joe Flacco. I don't have anything from a betting angle in this game. No, thank you. I don't know what to expect from Flacco. I've been wrong about the Jets. I mean, the 2 games they won, I thought they had no shot. The times I've taken them, getting a bunch of points, they've gotten annihilated. I hate the Jets, and I hate this decision to go with Joe Flacco. It makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I guess I understand the thought process of do whatever you think is best to win that game that week. But it's like Ricky Waters, man. Like, for who and for what?
For who, for what?
I'd much rather have a less than 100% Zach Wilson. I think he's fine. Or Mike White again and give Mike White a little bit of a bigger sample size. I'm out on Robert Saleh as a result of this decision.
I don't know if it was his decision, though.
Yeah.
That's the part that makes it even more disappointing because Joe Douglas, I mean, what's the track record now? He had 2 first-round draft picks. I don't want to, close the book on the Tucker, the guard, but clearly Justin Fields and Mac Jones are better prospects than Lawrence and Wilson. I mean, that's obvious based off what I've seen so far. And so you missed on your quarterback decision, and now you keep
early.
It's way too early.
That's fair, but Mac Jones looks clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the.
He also went to the greatest coaching staff ever assembled. So let's just slow our roll. He's played great.
That's true.
We've spent way too much time on the Jets and Dolphins, with the exception of this. I personally have set the over/under at a half for Robert Hunt catches this week. Ross, you were there.
Over. If they're smart, they'll put a package of plays in for him as a fullback or as a tight end. That guy's a awesome. GD hero, okay?
That was awesome.
That was unbelievable last week.
What?
That game was boring until he did that play. The fact that he turned around and it's like he thought the play was for him.
He really did.
And the way he went for the end zone, still knowing it's illegal and he can't even be doing it. like that guy straight up went for the Instagram video. He went for the TikTok for life. I love that dude.
Ross, you were calling the game with Ian Eagle on Westwood One. Your reaction was exactly what I did. My wife was studying for a real estate exam she's taking in the other room. When I saw the play, I was laughing hysterically. Like I was at a Dave Chappelle show. I was laughing so hard. She's like, "What the hell is the matter with you?" I was like, "You gotta come see this play." It was unreal. And your reaction was priceless.
What an athlete that guy is. What a stud.
That was incredible.
When he got flipped over and stuck the ball over the goal line.
I've seen receivers not make athletic plays like that. I mean, that was special.
All right, let's get to one of the more interesting games of the week. The Colts, the mighty Colts, they start off 1-4. They're back to 500 overall. They're taking on the Bills, who after that stinker down in Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago responded against the Jets. They picked off Mike White a bunch. They scored 45 points. The Bills are favored by more than a touchdown here. Let's remember, this is a playoff rematch that was pretty tight a season ago. So, Ross, where are you going?
I like the Colts. I like the Colts getting the points. Listen, similar logic, I think, to the Cowboys-Chiefs game that we talked about earlier in the show. Make sure you watch or listen to the whole thing. The Colts have been playing pretty darn well for a while now. I know they weren't great against the Jags. Whatever. They won the game. The Buffalo Bills, now they looked a lot better against the Jets, but we've established the Jets are a joke. So what does that even mean? Okay. The Colts only have one less loss than the Bills. Kind of weird, isn't it? That you think of the Bills here and the Colts here. Bills have 6 wins. Colts have 5. Now the Bills had a bye, whatever. I think the Colts keep it tight. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts win the game. I got them at 7.5. So you got a little bit of value there, getting the hook. And I think the Colts are going to be right there with the Bills all game.
But let me throw this out at you before Jared hops in here. The Bills are one of those teams at the beginning of the season when we looked at their schedule, we were like, okay, they could get 13, 14 wins if they really step on it. And especially if we knew the defense was going to play as well as it has so far through 10 weeks. Isn't it possible that last week, even though it came against the Jets, could be the point where they step on the accelerator a little bit and start taking off? That's what would scare me, is that maybe last week was the week where they go, all right, we're going to get our you-know-what together, and now we're taking off. Is that a possibility, Ross?
Definitely. But I think the Colts will be able to hang. I don't think they're going to blow the Colts out. I'm surprised by the line.
Okay.
No play for me here. I'll be honest. If I were to play it, though, if I could get the Bills under 7, I would say that's where I'd want it. Obviously, it opened at 7. I'm seeing the action kind of split here. There's not a real market direction once it hit 7. It's kind of floundered. I saw 7.5, then it came back to 7. There's a couple shops that are hanging 7. So I would expect this to close right at around 7. I kind of agree with you, though, Chris. I do think what the Bills did last week was more indicative of who they are compared to that Jags game. That Jags game, I think every good team has had one of those games this year. The Bucs just had one against Washington on Sunday. So I think if I had to pick this game, I would lay it. But I think the line's right. And I think getting 7.5, I think, is a favorable number for Ross. I think that's probably the highest it'll get to. I don't think it'll get back to 7.5. I think this will close right around 7.
Shame on me. I am going to double back, though. This is a host snafu. Did anybody ever throw you a pass as a lineman, Ross?
Oh,
not in a game. In practice, yes. In a game, I went out for one pass as a rookie against the Eagles, my hometown team, playing for Washington. And I was wide open, but there was pressure, and Tony Banks just had to throw the ball away.
Tony Banks.
And changed my whole life, because if I scored a touchdown against the Eagles, I would wear a shirt the rest of my life that said I scored a touchdown against the Eagles. I was going to spike it and then go like this, do the Tucker T for after I did a touchdown. Would have been amazing.
The Tucker T.
Is that a thing? Yeah,
is that a real popular? Is that a real popular thing in the hometown?
I made it up that week in practice.
Well, that's what T.Y. Hilton does. Doesn't T.Y. Hilton do the T.Y.? He does T.Y.
Oh, is that what T.Y. does? I don't know.
Yeah, he does T.Y.
Well, it's been so long since he's been in the end zone, we forgot what it is.
It's true.
Sorry. All right. Interesting game here in the NFC North we're going to focus on next. Packers and Vikings. Vikings finally won a tight one. Did a nice job out in L.A., took care of business against the Bolts. Now they are a home dog against Aaron Rodgers, who threw for almost 300 yards, but certainly did not look himself after missing a game in Kansas City. So what do we think here, Ross?
I like the Vikings, especially as a teaser leg. I got them again earlier in the week up to 8.5. The lines come down to 2, so you can still tease them up to 8. You don't get the hook, but I think that's still a good number. Vikings have been really solid this year. The Packers without Aaron Jones. I know A.J. Dillon's a good player, but he does not provide nearly what Aaron Jones does in the passing game. I think that's going to hurt the Packers in this one. Wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings win the game. I think it's a terrific game. I think it's a one-score game, and I think teasing the Vikings up to 8.5 or 8 is the right play.
I agree. I don't have anything on this game, and when I looked at this game, high level when I was starting my capping this week, my initial thought was, wow, Green Bay not laying the full field goal after how good their defense has been the last couple weeks, and they're starting to get some of that mojo back. And I thought that was telling. Then I looked at some of the splits. Everyone's on Green Bay, and it still hasn't gotten to 3. And that, again, when you see at this stage of the season, the lines are super sharp. So if there's no movement and all the public is on one side, that tells me the books are scared to move the line in that direction because the sharps are waiting to hammer if it gets to a key number. We saw that with the Rams and the Niners on Monday night. So I would be weary to lay it with Green Bay in this spot. And another thing that's very important, they've got arguably their most important game of the year coming up next week against the Rams. That game is going to be for NFC supremacy. I think if the Packers win that game next week, they've got the inside track for the bye, which is huge. And I know Aaron Rodgers has played well against Minnesota. This is a team that he usually does carve up. But the total's relatively low. It's in the 40s still, even though it's a high 40. So I think if I was going to play this game, Ross's teaser would be the way to go. And I think Minnesota's a live dog. They've shown that they can be in these games. They just have trouble winning them. But if you're telling me all they got to do is keep it close, I certainly think that Minnesota's live this week.
And the numbers would certainly bear it out. The Vikings are 7-2 as a teaser leg this year.
Wow.
It's very impressive. In fact, their 5 losses have come by a combined 18 points. So even if they lose, it's tight. And if you end up teasing it to right around 8 or 8.5, you're in good shape. At least that's what the numbers tell you this year. Okay. All right, let's move on. We've got the Ravens. Last time we saw them, they were getting 0 blitzed by Miami on 108% of the plays. They're taking on a Chicago team, which hasn't played since Cassius Marsh did the most nasty, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty we've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Tony
and got
Corrente.
fined for it and got hip checked by Tony Corrente. So,
The worst.
with all that being said, you got the Bears that are getting points at home, right around a touchdown, by the way. Here's the one thing I would say. The Bears have lost their last 7 games coming off of a bye. Jared, the floor is yours.
Fascinating number off the bye. Teams 5-11 against the spread off the bye this year. I asked the bookmaker about that this week, and he said the sample size too small to really make any definitive conclusions about it. But I still think it's noteworthy that teams, for the most part, have struggled covering the numbers off the bye this year. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I really like the Bears in this spot. I really like the over in this spot. So the Ravens over the last 3 weeks have the second lowest net yards per play in the NFL. And this is a Ravens team that is supposed to be a contender with Lamar Jackson and all these offensive weapons. I know they're banged up at the running back position. I know they're banged up at the cornerback position, but they have not flexed that muscle really this year. And I'd be concerned long-term with this Ravens team heading into the postseason. Chicago's looked okay. Justin Fields has put together 2 good games against the Niners and the Steelers. David Montgomery averaged nearly 5 yards per carry last week or 2 weeks ago against that really good Pittsburgh defense. I think the Bears are a live pooch here, and I think there's going to be some points in this game. Relatively low total at 45. So I got 6.5. I'm starting to see it move towards Chicago. If it gets to 4-ish, I might buy back on Baltimore and try to middle it because I think I like the over more than I like the Bears. But I don't play totals a lot, but I like the total in this spot, and I like the dog in this spot. So I'll double down. Bears 6.5, and I'll take the over at 45.
It's interesting. This line's moved a decent amount in the last couple of days already. I think the Ravens, I would lean to the Ravens. The only thing is the Ravens don't really have a great solution to these all-out blitzes they've been getting lately. And until they show they can fix it, they're going to keep seeing it. I do think that Dolphins loss was a wake-up call a little bit for them. And I know the Bears are off the bye, but the Ravens played Thursday night, so they kind of get a mini bye as well. I just expect the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a significantly better team than the Bears. I expect them to bounce back.
Here's something a little surprising, though. Baltimore Ravens 1-6 as a favorite against the spread this year. 1-6.
Wow.
It's a tough number, in part because their defense stinks. Last 3 games, they're giving up about 31 points a game, over 400 total yards. Something's gone wrong there in Baltimore. And with all that, they still lead the division, which is kind of weird. All right, Cardinals Seahawks. Kyler Murray said on Wednesday, he said, I'm feeling really good. I'm getting close, which is good because as much as we all love Colt McCoy, we cannot watch him or Chris Streveler under center anymore. Like, okay, you got your 2 games. Let's get the little guy that should be up for MVP back. All right. Now they're on the road against a Seattle defense, which has been much better over the last month. This is a huge game for Arizona because the Rams are breathing down their neck, even though they kind of stunk up the joint Monday night in San Francisco. They just know that this is a really competitive division. So Arizona's got to get it back here. What do we got going here on this one, Ross?
Yeah, I like the Seahawks as a teaser play, up to 8.5. They're getting 2.5 as we record right now. I just don't think Russell Wilson's going to be that bad again. It was his first game coming back from injury. Packers defense is pretty good. He got shut out. that's not going to happen again. I think he comes back and plays better. I think they score some points. And I do believe we'll see Kyler Murray in this game, but he's pretty clearly not 100%.
Right.
I could have told you Kyler Murray was going to play in this game as soon as I saw what was happening to the Carolina Panthers game. And I knew Kyler would be out there. And I think he will be, but I don't think he's going to be 100%. So I think this is a really close, classic Seahawks Cardinals game that we see all the time. And I'll take the 8.5, teasing the Seahawks up.
I'll be honest. This is probably, I think, the toughest game of the week to handicap because I think Seattle is much more desperate at this stage. I mean, this is it. If they lose this game, that's 7 losses, and you can pretty much put a fork in them. They're probably done anyways to make the playoffs. But again, the bottom of that NFC, there's really not a team that is going to run away with that 7 seed. So if Seattle can find a way to get a win this week, they kind of put themselves back into the mix, at least, in their minds heading down the stretch of the season. Interesting line flip here, -1, look ahead. Now it's Arizona being favored. It was Seattle -1 last week. Obviously, Seattle played terrible. Arizona, without their quarterback, they should get Kyler back. To me, I saw this total drop a couple of points. I would consider, and again, I haven't played a ton of totals this year, but a couple of them are standing out this week. The under here because it's a divisional game and because I would expect Kyler to be maybe a little bit hampered. Maybe this could be one of those 21-17 kind of games, 23-20, and that under, which I think right now is right at around 48.5, 49, could be an interesting total to play to the under. But I don't have a great feel here because I don't know what we're going to get from Kyler Murray, and I don't know what we're going to get from Russell Wilson. So if Ross feels confident that Russ is going to play better this week, I think the Seahawks going from 2.5 to 8.5. That is a very impactful teaser move when it's a tight pick'em kind of game. And I think that would probably be my lean, but I don't have a great feel here because the quarterback situation is an uncertainty for me on both sides.
You guys both talked about Russell Wilson. He knows an awful lot about Russell Wilson. He has never lost 3 straight games in a single season, and that could happen for him. They take an L.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's just something else as you're factoring all these.
This is a desperate game for Seattle.
It is.
Because they had aspirations heading into the year, and they're the bottom feeder of a very tough division. But this is it. I mean, if they lose this game, I think their season's pretty much done.
Let's remember they're the defending champs of the NFC West.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way. 49ers, I think they saved their season on Monday night. They bounced back after an ugly home performance against Arizona and took it to Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. Now, short week, long road trip, Jacksonville, right around a touchdown favorite. Jared, does that give you pause at all?
It does. I wouldn't lay it with the Jags, but I feel confident, or I wouldn't lay it with the Niners, but I feel confident that they're going to win this game. I think what they did better than anyone expected them to do on Monday night was the scheme running the football was masterful. It was one of Kyle Shanahan's best called games that I think I've seen. Now, granted, they put a lot of that on tape, and the Jags have, of the two, pass run defense, their rush defense has been slightly better than their pass defense this year, but they just got gashed by Jonathan Taylor last week. I'm surprised that the Colts didn't win that game. I know we gave out the Colts last week laying it. They had a blocked punt for a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had like 100 yards in the first half, and they still couldn't cover the number. The good news is, if we're teasing this down to a pick'em, it was 6.5, get it down to a half. I think that's the spot I'd be comfortable playing the Niners. I think they kind of rejuvenated themselves a little bit. And again, the run game and the defense tends to travel, regardless if it's a short week or not. And I think their defense played really well last week, and I think their run game will continue to play well this week. So I would take the teaser leg with the Niners and move that down to basically a pick'em.
So I think the right side to be on is the Niners. The things that give you pause are obviously the short week and the far travel. And the Jags defense has played much better. There's no question. But that was an epic beatdown on Monday night. I could watch George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk highlights all day. Those guys are awesome, and they destroyed Von Miller and the Rams. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, agreed.
And by the way, the Niners, I think they feel like they're right back in this thing because that 7 seed is up for grabs. Yeah. And they are say what you want about the Niners. They are a terrifying 7 seed.
Yes.
Terrifying because they've got a team. And once again, say what you want about Garoppolo. He's played in a Super Bowl. Say what you want about Kyle Shanahan, and sometimes it's been a little bit all over the place. He's coached in a Super Bowl. There's a lot of guys that have a lot of pride on that football team, boy, they get back to 500 this week and look out.
When
Just
the
saying.
Niners are good, they're as good as anyone. First of all, they lead the NFL in yards per play over the last 3 games. When they are at their peak and Jimmy G is, kind of the distributor and Kyle Shanahan is calling a good game, I don't think there's any offense better because they can run the ball better than almost anyone, and that puts defenses on their heels, play action. So if the Niners continue to play like they did on Monday, look out. They could be a hot team down the stretch.
And as far as this week goes, they're going against a Jags offense that has scored fewer than 20.6 times this year. Only the Lions have done it more frequently. All right, let's move on to the Sunday night affair. This is one of those, it's called a home game for the LA Chargers, but this will definitely not be a home game because one of the great traveling fan bases will be coming out, decked out in black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming off the tie, coming off a game where Mason Rudolph got the start for Ben Roethlisberger. He threw it 50 times. I get it. They played 110 minutes of football, but he threw it 50 times in the slop against a team that can't stop the run. I didn't quite get that. Still don't know about the availability of Roethlisberger or Minkah Fitzpatrick or on the other side, Joey Bosa or Jerry Tillery. And with all that being said, that we don't know who's available, does that scare you or do you have a good thought on this, Ross?
Scares me. The unknown is not something I like to bet on. The unknown is uncomfortable. Now, some people look at unknown as opportunity, and I guess it can be if you feel like you have a good feel for or a hunch for what will eventually be known, if that makes sense. If you think you know who will or won't be available, then you can have the edge. I don't know that. I don't like to bet when there's this much uncertainty, this much unknown. I think it's a stay away.
I agree. A lot of movement here off of 3. Chargers open -3. Now I'm seeing 5, 5.5. And obviously that's because of all that uncertainty that we talk about. Clearly there is someone out there that does believe the Chargers have an edge. A lot of action coming in on LAC too. And you're right. This is a home game for Pittsburgh. So I think the best way to play this is to wait, see if you can't get a 6 or a 6.5 maybe with Pittsburgh and take the points. But I don't know if it's going to get there because we just don't know what the news will be over the next 48 to 72 hours. So this is a perfect game to just kind of, it's a primetime game, so everyone's going to want to bet it. There is a lot of handle coming in on the Chargers already. But I think this is a game where you just kind of sit on your hands for a little bit. Maybe there's a prop that stands out. You find another edge over the weekend that really, catches your eye. But I don't have any strong opinions on this game. But it's definitely been a market mover early in the week for sure.
What about teasing it up, guys, the Steelers' direction? Getting it through double digits. Does that – because, the Chargers aren't blowing teams out. No. When they win tight games for the most part.
I was disappointed with Brandon Staley last week. I didn't think he coached a great game. I thought they had some moments where he could have been a little more aggressive. And I think they kind of played that game with kid gloves. Herbert's – I don't want to say he's regressed, but I don't think the buzz around Justin Herbert now is what it was earlier in the season when he was looking really good. I think Pittsburgh through double digits if they do have their full complement of weapons. That's an interesting teaser leg. Yeah.
Okay. You want to get to the Monday night game? Tommy Boy and the Bucs, who their coach Bruce Arians, like once or twice a year, he will come out and just have a gem of a post-game press conference. He said, "We were stupid. We were stupid. We played stupid. We coached stupid." Really, even though I think they only had like a half dozen penalties. But they just came at inopportune times. They end up losing by double digits in Washington, getting totally outclassed after the bye. So the question is, as now a double-digit home favorite against the Giants, who are also now coming off of a bye, is this a makeup game for Tampa Bay? Like, which direction, Ross, does this go?
Yeah, so I tweeted earlier in the week at Ross Tucker NFL that when this game kicks off on Monday night, it will be 30 days since Tom Brady and the Bucs last won a football game.
Wow.
Ooh, man.
30 days.
Now that's a
And
nugget.
evidently somebody looked it up, and the only longer stretch for Brady was back in 2002, 19 years ago, the year the Patriots went 9-7, the only year they didn't have double-digit wins under Brady, his first full year as the starter. So what that tells me is the Giants are in trouble. The question is, are they in this much trouble? I can only lean to the Giants. Getting, I'm looking at it right now, showing 11. It's a lot of points. Giants have been playing pretty solid football. The Kansas City loss, the Raiders win, coming off the bye. It's a lot of points. Now, when it's 27-3 in the second quarter, I'll probably regret it. But right now, I would say small wager on the Giants getting double digits.
Line agrees with you. Market agrees with you, even though we've seen slightly more handle come in on Tampa Bay early in the week. But again, this is the Monday night game. And I think we talked about this when we and anytime we talk about the Monday night games, the handle and the odds movement and where the line is, it drastically can change Sunday night to Monday just because of how good the books do, if they have any more exposure, how the public does on Sunday, what it's always the bailout game Monday night. So I'm always fascinated to see how things move Sunday night to Monday. I was on Tampa last week. I was dreadfully disappointed with their performance. I don't remember the last time, and we might be able to look this up, probably not before the end of the show, but when was the last time Tom Brady threw 2 picks in the first quarter of a game?
It was 2012.
So it's been almost 10 years since he's done that. I mean, I expect the Bucs to bounce back. I like the narrative after the game. They were unlike teams that have been in the Super Bowl. Sometimes they're like, we lost, no big deal. They took it personally how they played in that game. Bruce Arians took it personally. He's got to, dial up better plays on that Darth Vader looking chest protector that he wears during the games. But I would expect Tampa to bounce back. But Ross is right. This is a big number. Maybe a first quarter number with Tampa Bay would be more intriguing here. I'm not betting this right now. Maybe I will Sunday night, Monday morning. But I think right now I would lean Tampa. But I think the number's probably a little bit too much for me to chew on in this spot. Because, again, the Bucs now 2 losses in a row. So they've got to bounce back, and they've got to show us that they can play better football.
2 other things. One is just a game number. The Bucs undefeated at home. They are 4-0 this year. However, for our purposes, the Giants, they are 3-1 against the spread as a road dog. That's good for Ross.
Daniel Jones against Tom Brady. Fascinating matchup. Can't wait for this.
Giants are wearing the all whites. The
I like
all whites.
I'm a big fan. That changes everything. Okay, quickly, guys, teaser time. Ross, you go, then Jared, you follow up.
Yeah, obviously, as we go through the games, I say which teams I like as teaser legs. So just to reiterate, the Vikings up to 8.5, the Saints up to 7.5, Seahawks up to 8.5, Dallas up to 8.5. You can decide how you pair them or do what I do, which is a round robin. So Minnesota, New Orleans, Minnesota, Seattle, Minnesota, Dallas.
Wait, you're back to doing that, Ross? I thought you gave that up.
No, I'm still doing it. It was
Stick
good
to your
for
guns.
me 1 week.
Do your strategy. Repeat
It's been good for me 1 week. It was bad a few weeks. I still believe in it. I think it's better, Chris, than just like pairing I believe in all 4 of these teasers, right? So I'd rather do the round robin than just pair Minnesota, New Orleans, Seattle, Dallas. Then I can only get 2 wrong and get them both wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas if I get 2 wrong, I at least get 1
a little
right.
bit back.
Yeah.
At least you get a little bit back. You don't lose all your equity. I think teaser strategy is it can be tricky because if I had to rank my teaser legs this week, I put the Saints at the top. I put the Niners second. And then Ross convinced me a little bit with Seattle. I put Seattle third. But what do you do if you have 3 teaser legs? It's tough. Do you pair them? Do you do this? So what I would recommend is maybe to take, if you're going to do a full unit on one teaser and you have 3 or 4 legs, then you chop it up quarter unit, you play a bunch of different ones. Or if you feel really strongly about 2 legs, and that's the way you'd play it. But I'm only playing 1 teaser this week. Maybe I'll add a half unit teaser on Ross's other 2 legs, Minnesota and Seattle. But I really like New Orleans a lot, and I would say the Niners are right there. So I would say that's my strongest teaser of the week.
I got to tell you, I love the teaser stuff. I just,
it's fascinating.
I wasn't as ingratiated in it before we started the show. I look most forward to the whole teaser stuff just because I like.
The books have gotten killed on teasers this year. All the bookmakers we talked to said that's been their biggest strategy. Their biggest difficulty is ranking and moving the lines based off of the teaser money that they get every week.
I just enjoy it the most because I like hearing Ross say, okay, I like Seahawks, Cowboys, Seahawks, Vikings. Seahawks. I really enjoy that. Okay, let's get to tonight's game that's kicking off the week. And Patriots and Falcons, and how nice of them. Bill Belichick has offered to start the game behind 28-3, which I thought was really, really sweet of him. Kidding. So it's a 7-point spread. Patriots, a road favorite. The last 4 games, they have won by a combined 100 points.
$1 million.
100 million points. They just keep going with it. All right. Jared, what is catching your eye in this game?
Don't love it from a betting perspective, spread or total. I think there's a couple of interesting props. We'll talk about the touchdown props in a second. But I think if you're going to lay 7 on the road with a rookie quarterback coming on a short week after a blowout, that's where I would. So if I had to pick a side here, I would take the 7 at home with the Falcons. And I know that sounds crazy after what we saw last week, but everyone thought the Niners were a crazy bet on Monday night, but everybody was on the Rams and the line didn't move. Everybody's on the Patriots right now, and the line has not moved through 7. That should make you pause on a short week with a rookie quarterback. So I think the Falcons +7 would be my lean here, but I don't love it. Maybe a half a unit, and I think there's some other interesting props that we could talk about in just a second.
Yeah, I really have nothing in the sense that if it was – I think it's all about the number. If the Falcons were getting 7.5, I would lean Atlanta. If they were getting 6.5, I would lean New England. I really think 7 is the right number. I don't see value when it's at that number. I only see value if you could get, the half a point direction one way or the other. Very impressed by New England right now. And I'm mad at the Falcons because I bet on them last week under the theory that they've been competitive in every game and they chose to be uncompetitive. I like to put teams in the at least 1 week penalty box. The Jets are back there. Jets pretty much live in my little penalty box. Falcons reside in my penalty box for the first time this week.
Fair enough.
The question is, where will Cordero Patterson reside this week? He suffered an ankle injury, short week. They're saying he's a game time decision. You're really going to have to check.
Not. No, he's not. He's not playing in the game. It's so like, I mean, you know what I should do? I should stop doing this show, and I should just do a show where I tell you who's going to play and who's not going to play.
That would be very helpful for better fantasy players.
I know. Kyler Murray's playing. I could told you Kyler Murray was playing when the Panthers were up by 3 touchdowns. I can tell you Cordero Patterson's not playing tonight. They're going to let him rest 10 more days because they need him for the rest of the season. He's not playing.
Jared Goff?
Jared Goff's not playing. Tim Boyle will start. But that's mainly because Jared Goff's performance against the Steelers was pathetic, and they want to see if somebody new can provide a spark more than his oblique.
Okay. I want everybody to get a spark and also get their hands.
Who else you need? Let me know. I can tell you,
okay.
With like 90% certainty, I can read the tea leaves and tell you who's playing and who's not.
Can you do one better? Can you tell me who's going to score a touchdown on Thursday? It's our anytime touchdown giveaway because all you have to do is follow us on our Pickswise Twitter. Okay, so give it a follow. And then when, not if, I have that much confidence in these guys. When these guys nail their anytime touchdown maker, all you have to do to be eligible to win $100 is to retweet and follow.
I think we've hit 3 in a row. I might be wrong about that, but I know we hit last week, and I know we hit 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I think we've hit 3 in a row.
I just found out Wayne Gallman evidently plays for the Falcons. He's got the second best odds. Here's what I'm going with. I'm giving you pretty decent plus money odds. Mike Davis plus 170 because I don't think Patterson's going to play.
Love it.
And Mike Davis is a hard-running son of a gun. And then Hunter Henry at plus 180. You know why?
Oh, my God.
Because Hunter Henry scores a touchdown every game.
Every week.
Oh, my God.
He scores a touchdown. So those are my guys, Hunter Henry and Mike Davis. And I love that Chris comes to me first so that
Jared
has
stole
to
my guy
scramble to
last
find
week too, and
somebody else.
he's the one that
I
scored.
got to be honest with you. I wasn't going to go to you first. You kind of took the ball. You kind of stole the ball. I mean, you really kind of Stephon Marbury'd it and just took it and did whatever you want with it. Okay, Jared, go ahead.
Stephon Marbury. Does he play running back for the Falcons too?
No, he might
wearing
well,
a Wayne Gallman jersey. It's the strangest thing ever.
You know what the funny thing is, though? The Mike Davis number, if Patterson doesn't play, that number is wrong. That number is going to go way down. So if you can get it at that price, and if Ross is indeed right that Cordero is not playing, you're going to get some good closing line value on that number. This sounds crazy. The guy hasn't scored in a million games. He scores once. They come in bunches. How about Jacoby Myers finds the end zone for a second straight game, right? That's the feel-good story. That was one of my favorite interviews that I saw over the weekend, was that Jacoby Myers. And you could just see the team gathering around him. They came from off the bench. That was a great moment. So why not Jacoby Myers gets in the end zone twice? For the Falcons, I'll be honest, this Zacchaeus kid's been a baller.
Yeah,
Alameda
Zacchaeus. Yes.
Tough name to say. But he's a big number. You're getting 3-1 on a guy that scored twice 2 weeks ago. It wasn't last week. They didn't score a touchdown last week. But 2 weeks ago against the Saints, he scored twice. So I'll take a shot with him. If I had to guess, if I'm Bill Belichick, I take Kyle Pitts away. So that's not where I would go.
He scored one touchdown all year. He's not the guy to pick here.
And he's going to get bracketed. He's got no shot.
Agreed.
Great.
If I'm Belichick, I take Pitts away. So if it has to be a Falcon and it's not Mike Davis, I'll go Zacchaeus, and we'll go the feel-good story with Jacoby Myers.
All right. Damian Harris did not play last week. Doctor, is he playing this week?
So concussions are a little bit tougher. He's concussion, right?
Yeah.
Concussion's a little bit tough, right? I'm not great with concussions because that's not like a knee or an ankle where they would give him more time to heal. I would lean no with Damian Harris. If it was bad enough he couldn't play Sunday, I would lean no, but concussions are a little bit different because they can kind of just like snap their fingers and like he passes the protocol, as opposed to when it's a knee or an ankle and it's like something where you want to give it a little bit more time to heal.
Yeah.
By the way,
the Stevenson number's
Stevenson.
Wrong if Harris doesn't play too. That number's going to go way up.
He's coming off a career high 100 yards and a couple of scores last week in that beatdown of Cleveland. All right, just a quick reminder, give us a Twitter follow, and then when one of these guys is right on the anytime touchdown, you retweet that, you'll be eligible for a chance to win a cool $100, which you can then turn around and use some of their knowledge and put it together for the next week. It's that simple. Guys, as always, this was fun. Don't forget to download the Pickswise app wherever you can get that. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The Pickswise Playbook podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, so we have made it there. Anything else, gentlemen, or will that do it for today?
All good here.
I think that's
good luck.
Okay, so you hate in order the Jets, Jared Goff,
I don't hate Jared Goff. I just don't think he's very good. I don't hate him.
Is there anything else you hate?
Falcons. The Falcons are in the penalty box this week.
I don't hate them. They're just in the penalty box. I only hate the Jets.
Okay. Don't forget to leave us a comment and some of your favorite picks as well down there, okay? When you're watching us on YouTube, we like to see what you're doing. Just do it before the games. Don't give us like the score after the games are over. That's cheesy. That's something that I would do on the other side of things. So don't do that. Okay? Thank you very much. So for our outstanding producer, Jack, whom we heard very little from today, which
it has been quiet today.
That means we must have been well behaved today. And Ross and Jared, I am Chris Rose, and we'll see you next time on Pickswise Playbook. Now go win some dough.